This is a video to help you get to know me. I'm Dr. Mark Stevens. That's me and my dog Nala, who's right now behind me on the floor. No, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm with a PhD in learning to design research with, believe it or not, a specialty in online learning. And this is my 27th year teaching, 16th year at Glasgow. I've taught every type of 7th grade U.S. history class we now offer. And believe it or not, when I first started, I had to convince the principal to move from a 2600 baud to a 5200 baud modem so that we could do 1994 level online learning. And that is not me. That's a type of learning I avoid. Lecture, drill and kill. I did at one point in time have an overhead projector to teach the students, but I still tried to not have it be just me talking to them. And there I got my first college degree at Bridgewater College, which is in the Shenandoah Valley, about 6 miles down the road from James Madison University. I went there to learn and to play football, and here we are coming onto the field after halftime. I was a center, I was number 54, and you can see me there thinking about what I was about to go do to the nose guard. In my first 11 years working after college, I worked as someone who had to visit people to collect money from them that they had borrowed and could not pay it back. And I learned very quickly that the stereotypical aggressive bill collector approach never worked. And it was learning how to motivate people to do hard things, to help them. And sometimes I use those motivational skills in teaching. Now I moved back to this area so I could go to college to get the master's degree in education and become a teacher. Then I worked 11 years and decided I wanted to teach U.S. history in a secondary school. And to do that, I went to get a master's in history so that I can become even better prepared. And one reason I wanted to teach about those times is that I found I had a lot of relatives who fought in wars during the time periods of our nation's history. So here's going to be a few slides to show you some about my family. And that's a picture my dad took on one of the missions he was on in World War II, flying in a B-24 heavy bomber, taking a picture over the shoulder of the pilot. And you can see out the window how close those planes actually did fly in formation, 250 miles an hour. And there is the plane on the ground, getting ready to take off. Its name was Forever Amber. And again, you can see it was a B-24J, so it had the nose turret, 10-hole machine guns. Now, one thing my dad explained is when they were going on a mission, they would take off from one base in Italy, and their fighter cover would take off from another base, and they'd meet up on the way to the target. And he said that he knew they never had anything to worry about going on the mission when they saw the planes escorting them were going to be the red-tailed ones, the red-tailed angels, the Tuskegee Airmen, because those guys were so skilled. And because of them, my dad came back alive. And there is a picture of my dad at the age of 18. And that is not a picture of him on the right, but it's what he did. He was a waist gunner on the B-24. So in a plane, 5 miles in the air, flying 250 miles an hour at an open window. And my uncles also participated in World War II. He was in the Marine Corps, and he was a human Zippo. He used the backpack-held flamethrower. Unfortunately, the things he had to do caused him to develop PTSD-type conditions, and he struggled the rest of his life. And there was my great-great-grandfather, going back to the Civil War, William J. Cole, who was in the 141st Pennsylvania Regiment in the Union Army. And there are no pictures of him because of the wound that he got at the Battle of Chancellorsville, which happened about 70 miles or so from Glasgow, where he was shot in the side of the mouth. They were guarding the flag, the color company. And the funny thing is, it probably saved his life because his regiment would have been at the apex of the angle 2 months later at the Battle of Gettysburg, where they were hit from 3 sides by the Confederates and walked away from that part of the battlefield with 47 men still standing. And there's a flag they would have been holding. And that is the stretch of ground at Chancellorsville, somewhere between where the cannon is and off in the background is where my great-great-grandfather was injured. Now, this one day after teaching for a long time, a leader at Glasgow, no longer there, told me that using computers, online strategies, blended learning would never work for students at Glasgow, and I decided to prove them wrong. So I was drawn into the PhD in learning technology design research at George Mason. So that's why some students call me Dr. Stevens instead of just plain old Mr. Stevens. And I'm very, very thankful for all that they helped me learn. It's been able to help me get things published, 9 journal articles, 6 book chapters. And again, thankful because without them, I'm not doing any of that. Now, included in the email where you're going to get a link to this video are going to be some support sites that might help you a little bit on the online learning this year. But again, use the survey to ask extra questions in the email if you need to.